Hey guys, welcome to video number 2 in the Taco Fiesta Stamp Stack. Today we're going to make Nacho Average Friend. If you missed Long Time No Taco, you're going to want to go check that out. These are Wonder Recipe cards. And in video number 1, we talked about cutting our designer series paper according to the Wonder Recipe. And we embossed all of our card backgrounds, so it's a good place to start. I'll link you to the video below. This is our design for today. It's design number 2 in the series. And I will be back tomorrow with holy guacamole, it's your birthday. This Stamp Stack makes 7 cards, 2, 2, and 3. Let's get started with our Nacho Average Friend. You've got the Taco Fiesta Stamp Stack class packet. They're available while supplies last. You got a quarter package of this awesome Enjoy the Journey designer series paper, along with the ribbon, embellishments, the card bases, envelopes, the basic die cutting all done for you. We went ahead and cut 2 pieces of that Enjoy the Journey designer series paper according to Wonder Recipe number 4. And now we're going to mix and match the pieces and make some really cool cards. So we're going to take these pieces that are 1 3/4 by 3 inches. We've got 2 sets and 2 card bases. Now I went ahead and embossed my card bases. I do them in batch work. We don't emboss for you. We couldn't possibly physically do it, but what we do is like to show you some different options. So this one we did with the new Countryside Blossoms embossing folder, and our original sample is done with the crosshatch pattern from the 3D Basics embossing folder. Now, whether you stamp or emboss, whatever you do, it's your choice. Put a little action on the card base there, and let's go ahead and adhere our designer series papers to the base. Oh, aren't those pretty cool? That would make a neat card, don't you think? This Enjoy the Journey paper is really cool, and you're going to have a quarter pack. That's 2 of every 6x6 sheet, and so you'll have plenty to play with. Maybe you can do something with these. Wouldn't those be fun? All right, let's get these onto the card base, and we're going to do them kind of like that. And the second copy. All right, next up in your packet, you're going to find that we did some die cutting for you. Let me show you that. If you don't have the class packet and you're cutting your own pieces, we've got 2 of the smallest tailor-made tags, and this is Pumpkin Pie and Basic White. And then we did the little D enforcer with Melon Mambo. We also die cut for you the 2 5/8 inch circle from Layering Circles, and that's Basic White. And then the largest Basic Black, that's about 3 1/16 inch scallop circle. So let's go ahead and adhere these 2 together and set them aside. Let's do some stamping next. We're going to need our tag, our Basic White tag. We can put these guys aside for just a minute. And there's lots of Basic White in the card kit for you. We're going to do our tacos. Now, when I do a Stamp Stack, I like to do all of the stamping at one time. But for the purpose of demonstrating, except for my nachos, because by the magic of television, I have an extra set of nachos. I like to demonstrate how to color one of each for each card design for you. But if you're doing this, you've got the packet and you're going to stamp all the cards, or you're doing the Wonder Recipe and you're going to stamp all the cards, What you want to do is do all your guacamole, all your tacos, all your burritos, all your nachos, all your piñatas, everything. Stamp them all, color them all. Do it in a batch work. It's going to be a far quicker and more enjoyable craft that way. All right, you'll stamp your nachos also, and I like to stamp the faces on my little guys after I'm done coloring them. So let's slide this out of the way for just a minute and we'll get coloring. And of course, I'm going to put a lid on this. All right, so my nachos, I'm going to color the same way I color my taco shell. And I'm going to do everything that's Daffodil Delight all at the same time. I like to take the caps off the markers one time, color everything with those markers, and then replace the caps. It helps the fatigue, especially if you're making a set of 7 cards, not to take the caps on and off and on and off. If you do everything that's Daffodil Delight all at one time on all the different images, then you put the caps on, move on to the next marker, you'll find that you have just far less fatigue in your hands, and you move through the stack a little bit faster too, with a little bit more ease, is a little bit more pleasure in the craft, right? All right, so we're doing for our nachos and our taco shell, light Daffodil Delight. And then we're gonna slide over where the artist drew the little dots like a shadow, and then do corresponding on the other side. And then just blend the dark into the light. And I did the same thing with the nachos. I put the little shadow kind of where the dots were heavier and blend dark into light. All right, now next up we're gonna do our burrito. And to get a tortilla and have it look kind of realistic, I had tried a lot of different things, and what I ended up doing that I liked the best was taking light crumb cake, and I'm gonna just do a full strength, just full saturation. I'm gonna put a layer of color on this tortilla, and it looks a little bit dark, unless it's a whole wheat tortilla, that's okay. But we want it to not look like it was left uncolored, but we don't want to make a real project out of it either, because after all, we got 7 cards to make here. So what I did was I colored it in with the light crumb cake, and then I went over and just pushed that crumb cake deep into the card stock using the color lifter. And the color lifter doesn't lift anything, it just pushes it deeper into the card. So make sure that you have something underneath you, because you don't want to bleed through and ruin your surface. And I just went through and added a nice hefty layer, a coat of color lifter. Now let it dry, let it do its thing. You might come back to it. It might be perfect, who knows? We're gonna do the bowl for our guacamole. I've got the Melon Mambo Stampin' blends here. We're gonna make a pink bowl for our nice green guacamole. And I wanted guacamole that was more like our garden green, and then like granny apple green, or like any of the other greens for that matter, because of the designer series paper in this kit. So we're gonna make a pink bowl and a nice green guacamole that looks very garden green. I'll show you how. So just blend the light to the dark there, and now onto our green. I'm gonna do my guacamole and lettuce are going to be granny apple green, and with little bits of shaded spruce to bring the granny apple into more of the garden green shade. So I'm going to take my light granny apple green and I'm going to color the whole guacamole. Then I'm going to take shaded spruce, light shaded spruce, and I'm going to color over top the whole guacamole. Now we're getting closer. to that garden green color. We're done with the light shaded spruce. Let's go in with the dark granny apple, and we're going to add some dark granny apple where there's dots and bumps. And we're going to slide over the whole thing and bring it all together with a little bit of light garden green. Now we've got a nice guacamole that looks more like garden green. Kind of pulls that color through. Let's do the lettuce in our burrito and the lettuce in our taco. I'm going to switch to just granny apple green and not go quite to the ends. Add a little bit of shadow there, kind of at the base of the leaves, and blend it out. And then a little bit on our taco. This is when the taco really starts to come to life, when you start getting those lettuce and tomato colored in. I love this image. I love this image with the face. I love this image without the face. It's just such a cute little image. And then you put it together with long time no taco. Oh my goodness. I can't even. Spectacular. I can't even say it, but I love to stamp it. All right, there's our granny apple green. And now last we're gonna do some poppy parade for our tomatoes. And now's the time you're gonna look at your burrito and decide if there's anything else that you wanna do and to lighten up that tortilla. And I'm gonna get my color lifter. I'm gonna go with the bullet point and just go along the edge here where it's still a little bit dark. And then just scribble, kind of a loose scribble over the whole entire thing. Just gonna start to make it look like it's got a bit of a texture to it. It's kind of fluffy. There we go. Now we're gonna get these cut out. Before we go too far, if you want your faces, now's the time to add them. I'm going to do the mustache face on my taco. I love it. And the little winky face on my burrito. But let's get the Stampin' Pierce mat back in here. We want, since we've already colored this, we want the best possible impression, best possible image. I'm going to do my taco face first because my burrito is still drying. We'll do that one last. Ha! Is he just not cute? Oh my gosh. Oh, can't even. Now the little winky face on the burrito. So cute. I find that their faces are a little bit more crisp and clear if I stamp them after I color them instead of running all that alcohol ink over top of the faces. Let's grab some garden green while we're stamping. And that tag, let's add your Nacho average friend. Love it, and I love it in the garden green. Just pops. All right, now we're gonna cut out our bits. For this design, you could stamp the burrito right on the circle. If you are adverse to fussy cutting, if it's not your favorite thing to do, you can stamp that guy because he's kind of in the background. I put him on with some liquid glue. But what happens is, as I'm designing classes, I cut the card bases, and I cut the designer series paper out according to the Wonder recipe. I deal it out to each of the card bases. Then I start dealing out shapes for the layers. Then I stamp and I start dealing out pieces. So you'll notice that a lot of my Stampin' Stack classes do have the images either die cut or fussy cut and popped up. Part of that is because you took the time to color them and they look really great. And when you put dimensionals underneath them, it's kind of a showcase then. You know, it's a way to show that you're proud of them, to either fussy cut them or die cut them and pop them up. But part of it is also the design process, a little peek behind the scenes. So I'll cut or stamp, color, cut a whole bunch of whatever the focal images are. And then I'll rearrange and arrange and deal and shuffle between the cards. And I'll design all of the entire stack, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards all at one time. And this is kind of a way that I can do that with ease. just stamp and cut out the little guys. So you'll see a lot of bumped out focal images in my Stampa stacks for that reason. All right, there's our bits. We're gonna bring our samples back in here, our cards back in here. I'm gonna put dimensionals on the back of the guacamole and on the back of the taco. What I like to do with the little guacamole is take kind of a longer piece, put it so that it goes off the top like this, and then I can take that one chip and tuck it in there so that they become kind of one piece. Yep, there we go. Make sure that dimensional doesn't show, and then add another one to the bottom to support. I love using up the ends of these things. And then one on my little chips also. Now my tag, let's assemble that. We don't want to lose the little enforcer. The sooner I glue it all together, the less likely I am to lose it. So we'll pop that guy on the white tag, little liquid glue, and then layer these so they're kind of got a fun matted look. I'm going to just grab my ribbon right now and thread and tie that tag. In the kit, you're going to get 1/3 of a spool of ribbon, so you'll have plenty and extra to play with your extra designer series paper. But I always like to, even though you're going to get plenty, I like to keep the ribbon on the card and then thread the tag from the front to the back, loop, swoop over the top, and by then you can usually tell if you're going to need a longer tail. There's no waste this way. Swoop over the top, tuck and pull. I don't tie anything to start with. Keeps it nice and flat there in the center so that you can mail it a little bit easier. It also makes the perfect bow, tails up, or ears up, tails down, and all you have to do is cut it away from the card or the spool if you're cutting from a spool, and then correct the angle, and you'll hardly waste any at all. Have lots to play with. All right, now we're going to adhere our circle base. This would be a fun place to take some speckles, kind of recreate the speckly look of the taco shell or the nachos if you wanted to stamp some speckles in the background there. We're going to add our tags. Make sure your greeting reads level. And then our little burrito guy. At this point, you could just stamp them right on there and color them on the circle. You now have good placement. But for perfect placement, just cut them out and then pop them on. And then our taco. And our guacamole. So cute. I love this little pink bowl and the chips because, you know, your Nacho average friend. Let's get this other one caught up. Ha, so cute. Now some embellishments. I love these flat pearls. These are just a fiery, beautiful embellishment. They're a little bit lower profile than the standard pearls, but they've got this cool, like, natural shape, and they throw the most beautiful rainbow of colors. You'll get 2 rows of them in your kit. And we're going to add 3, 1 big one and 2 little ones to each of these cards for a little extra fire. Love it. And there it is. There is card number 2 in the Taco Fiesta Stampa Stack. Nacho Average Friend. All right, you guys, I'll see you in video number 3 where we'll make holy guacamole. It's your birthday. And if you missed video number 1, go check that out. It's linked below. If you've got any questions, you can email Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com to shop and see if there are any of the Taco Fiesta Stamp-A-Stack packet left. If you want a quick, fun craft, grab the packet and follow along. You can go to kitchentablestamper.com/shop and filter on the right-hand side for class packets. And to shop Stampin' Up! 24/7, buzz over to marisaAlvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in video number 3.